welcome back to the channel. Today has been a bit of a rum day really. I'm recuperating from yesterday's nonsense, and we had a bit of a bad day yesterday trying to fight with the fog lights on this, but that's another story. This video is basically just going to show you these new tyres that I had fitted. I've purchased the Nokian Outpost AT tyres for this vehicle. It wasn't my first size preference at all, because they're actually oversized for this vehicle. The vehicle takes 250 550 20s, or at least this one does. This is the supercharged, and I've installed a 275 55 20s, and my preferred size would have just been to go up an inch to the 255 55 20s. Now, there are a number of downsides to running oversized tyres, and you'll have seen it on a couple of videos regarding the Defender, and they were all right on the Discovery, which I can't remember what the original stock tyre size of those are. I think those are a 255 55 20. It seems to me that 1 inch up seems to just suit the cars right, but and you know, if you're a bit of a purist but want to touch more height, but these have gone up 2 inches in diameter and 1 inch in sort of radius, and there are a couple of downsides to that. The first downside is I don't think it looks proportioned. It looks a bit off, it looks a bit like it's trying too hard. The second is that on the supercharged, I'm assuming it's the same on the diesel, just around the back where the fuel filler is, there's a plastic wheel arch liner, and that has a habit of being, it rubs slightly there if you're not careful. And in the front here, just behind this bumper and under your sill, there's a bit of a wheel arch liner there as well at the front, and that also sort of rubs if you're not careful on lock. Now, I have provided this, as you see it sat here, it's in the raised suspension mode because I've been underneath it earlier on today, but I've given it a 1/4 inch lift with the gap tool, and in the photographs that you'll see later, it had a 1/2 inch lift. That was how I picked it up. I programmed it with an 1/2 inch lift because I hadn't had chance yet to modify that rear sill. But I don't really like them running them over height. I like running them at pretty much stock height, but 1/4 inch here and there isn't really the end of the world, so I don't mind giving it 1/4 inch, and I would also go to 1/2 inch if I had to, but I have no rub in here at 1/4 inch, so I'm going to leave it at that because I think it sort of looks a bit better really, I think. But anyway, a lot of people put an inch lift on it once they've fitted these tyres, just to give them a little bit more space on the wheel arch liner. Now, the main concern, there are two sort of really critical issues with these fitting the 275 55 20s on the Range Rover, and the first thing is, if you blow an airbag or blow an airline for whatever reason, and it ends up sat on its bump stops, you can't move the car. The wheels will rub all together on the wheel arches, and you won't be able to roll it into safety, into a garage to get it fixed at your bump stops. It's a bit of a problem here because in between garages is a long distance, like in between Land Rover dealers is a long distance, so it's not always possible to find anybody to fix it anyway. And the second issue is that the 275 55 20 won't fit in the spare wheel well. But I also carry in the car here an emergency puncture repair kit, one of those little pieces of things that they punch a little stuff in, and so I like a piece of matting, and that's how I repair my tyres. I have a kit that I bury in the back there just in case. Now, these tyres that you probably can't see just round the corner, I took off the Discovery. Those tyres are also 275 55 20s, and they're winter Nokians. And one of the reasons I wanted to go up to this size was that I'm fed up of buying new tyres basically, but the 275 55 winter tyres that I had fitted to the Discovery I'm going to use on this vehicle as well. I'm going to put them onto my other rims, and then the same size spare will feed both size tyres, if you see what I mean. So there was a sort of a method behind the madness. The other really important fact is in Canada, the size I wanted to go to, 255 55/20, is only produced in an AT tyre by Toyo. Falcon Wildpeak have one, and Duratrack. Now Toyo and Falcon have no stock coming available this year, and the Duratrack are available, but they're also $2,250 plus fitting, so it'd be nearer $2,500. And I had these tyres fitted for $1,250 fitted, and so these are quite literally half the price of the other size tyres. So while I wanted those tyres to fit, and that was one of my primary concerns with the spare tyre, I also didn't want to spend twice as much money on buying these tyres, and I didn't. So I bought the 275s, and then I made some minor modifications to make them fit. As you've probably picked up in earlier videos, these kinds of oversized tyre things aren't my favourite gig, and I've done it really for pragmatic reasons rather than anything else. The 275/55 Nokian Winters are brand new. They've only done a 4-month season, and these of course are brand new. I also wanted to try the Nokian Outpost AT. It's a brand new tyre, and I've been a big groupie of Nokian for a very long time because I've run their Nokian winter tyres for probably 15 years, and they've been outstanding. Nokian tyres are made in Finland, and their topography and their climate is very similar to ours, so they get lots of built up hard ice and snow, as being one of those Nordic countries. Out in the bush, if you go past past Helsinki and up into the bush, it tends to be very muskeggy or rocky, outcroppy, with some clay, which is sort of what we have here. And of course their winters are like ours, very cold, lots of sea air, lots of moisture. Not that we have lots of moisture, but they have lots of ice build-up, which really affects the weather. That's why they have studded tyres. That's important because I believe that these tyres, which are a 3-peak mountain snowflake tyre, I believe that the compound and the way that they're constructed is going to make them an excellent shoulder season tyre. And I think that they're going to improve on the Cooper tyre performance because they're designed for their weather conditions, and their weather conditions are much like our weather conditions. So they're going to end up being better in the shoulder season, really. I'll take a couple of videos of the tyres, and I'll show you how to adjust the CCF settings to make that change from the 255/50/20 to the 275/55/20, and so that your computer runs right and your speedo runs right and all that. And with any luck, I'll show you some pretty photographs. And no, I'm not going to wash my car because I'm not that kind of guy. Now then, the last thing that you need to do really before you can drive down the road is sort out the computer settings and stuff for the calculation and the speedo and the fuel, instant fuel calculations and distances and trips and all that. So we need to go into the gap tool, and I'll just back out to these to show you how I came by it. But once you've connected to the gap tool, you need to touch into car configuration, and then you need to load the confirmed list. It says the CCFs will be loaded. Now I've already set these because I've been riding around in it for a couple of 3 days, but once we've loaded the CCF list, it gives you a confirmed list, and the one you now need to enter is this one here, the instrument pack. Now there's about 3 or 4 settings for tyres, and you can see that right at the bottom we've got tyre size MSB. Now that one is the one that affects the speedo. Tyre rolling radius, and this is for the ABS, and then this one here, tyre rolling circumference, and that's for the computer. So the tyre rolling circumference, once you go into it and change them, it goes blue, and so I'll just change it back to 2380. Now can you see that oh, it went blue, didn't it? Where did it go there? So if we applied that, now it had changed to blue, and the whole thing back there would be blue. So we'll just apply, and you can see it's blue. I'm just going to change it back now. Now what we actually need is 2545, but there isn't enough. So this is as good as you're going to get, 2385 mil. And this one, as I said, this one does the for the fuel and all that kind of stuff. So your fuel's going to be slightly out on the worst side. Tyre width is in millimetres, and you can set that if you wanted to, 275, so we'll set that one, apply that one. And then this one down here, rim diameter, that hasn't changed. Tyre rolling radius, that's changed to 405. Now the reason the radius is 405 is because the diameter of the tyre in millimetres is 810, which is 31.9. But the most important one, the one that you need to pay attention to here, is the tyre size MSB. Now this is the one that affects your speedo. It's not quite as clear as you'd imagine because it's not running 29-inch tyres, but it was set at 31. Now, none of these figures here are actually anything to do with anything. They're all a bit wibbly-wobbly, to be honest. They're all random, according to Patrick at Gap. And so you've got to mess about with them a bit, really. But there's a lot of folk on LR3 forums has used 30, and I've found that it's with my little GPS thing on my phone that 29's about as close as it gets, and that's as good as I've got. So I've left it at 29, but yours might be different, and the one on the LR3s is different. Mine at 29, my speedo's just ever so slightly faster than what I'm actually travelling, and at 30 my speedo's ever so slightly slower than what I'm travelling. So I mean, take your pick here, but it was at 31, and none of these figures actually represent anything. They're all random. Anyway, if you wanted to upload these, you'd just tap the upload changes button and then it'd start the cycle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a cycle upload so you know what to expect that was off my previous tyre setting, my previous MSB setting. So don't set it to 32 because that was just part of me trying to find out what was accurate. Set it to either 29 or 28, and I'm going to just back out of all of these here because I don't actually want to make any I don't want to make any changes. So that's basically how you set your speedo and your trip so that you're going to be roughly accurate. So we'll just upload the changes now. Upload the changes, yes. And it might shut off the car, which it is going to, so we'll continue that. It says it's going to continue to switch the thing on. Message and keep the tool connected all the time. Hoping there's enough battery power in the thing. It's funny, isn't it, how it switches all car off? It's a bit like spooky, that, really, if you ask me. I mean, I know it's all electronics, isn't it? But still, it bothers me a bit that the car switches off, and I get a bit panicky, especially here, because I'm not at home in garage. I'm miles away from anywhere. But anyway, this is the mechanism of telling your car how fast you're going. Now, once upon a time, you used to change the gears in the speedo drive, which was in the gearbox, but that's obviously not a thing anymore because we don't have cable drive speedos, do we?
15 years, Mark Watt has been living with an autoimmune disease that attacks his kidneys. Then in
I'm just going to... I always get twitchy when it does these things, just in case it doesn't like to start again, and then that's a big drama. Now, you can back this up.
Saw the post and reached out to them. She lives...
You can back the settings up on the gap tool so that you can always, you know, next time the engine is started, start it, stop it, then restart it, continue, upload succeed, continue, CCF uploaded complete, and it'll also clear all the codes at the process. Now I'm just going to disconnect the tool here. Actually, I'm going to start it first, like it said. Start, and then I'm going to stop it, and then start it again, and proceed. Yeah, there we go. So it's disconnected, and now it'll have reset all of this thing, all of the rolling radius, so the car knows how fast it's going. Basically, that's how it goes. Now, what I should tell you is that during the process of rewriting the CCF files, and I don't know if you can just see this here, but it has reset everything again. So I always think it's advisable to get your seat how you were wanting to sit, and then reset the memory buttons, and you'll hear me doing that now. just in case it's altered the seat and the mirror, you know, it's deleted that. And then, of course, you can go into the dashboard and set your clock and all your other things, but it'll swap everything over and you have to reset it. Here we are, me riding off into the sunset. Look, that's grand. You can't see it, but it's very pretty. I'll flash you a photograph up. Now I'm jingling down this gravel road because I've been out here to take some photographs of the tyres for you and the drone and what have you. And I'm basically jingling back here, happy as Larry. But I suppose what most people are going to be wanting to ask me is, well, what do I think of the tyres? And the answer is going to be somewhat disappointing, really, in some sense, I suppose. The tyres themselves are grand. They're extremely quiet. A colleague of mine run them on his Discovery a while back, and he was saying that they had a bit of roughness to them when he first put them on. And he's the only other person that I know that's run them, and he's in Murica. Do I think the tyre's good? I'll tell you when I get a little bit of mud around it, because I'm not going to do much on gravel. And I'll tell you what it's like in the ice and the wet when I go to Vancouver. We don't get any rain here. But otherwise, it's actually a nice, they're a nice quiet tyre. They're comfortable, they ride well. It doesn't roll excessively in the corners like you might expect it would with an extra 2 inches of increase in height on overall diameter, so that's not really an issue. And so in terms of tiriness, I think they're actually very, very good. If Nokian made these in a 255 20, this tyre would have been absolutely perfect for me. I don't know that, as it stands, the tyres are any better or worse than we've come off that gravel road now onto tarmac, and you can hear the difference in sound. There's a little drum to them, but really a lot quieter than me Cooper AT3s, and much quieter than the KO2s or the Duratracs, far quieter. And when I get back to the house, I shall have a look and see how this gravel road's treated them, because I do expect Nokian tyres to be a little softer, and so the gravel that we've just been on might just beat them up a bit. But I think they're a perfect tyre, or they would be if they were in 255 20s. I imagine that the reason that they're not made in that tyre size is because it's quite an odd tyre size, and there are very few car manufacturers, vehicle manufacturers, that install that tyre size. And really, you've got your choice of tyres is a function of how many manufacturers demand that tyre size, really. Well, the 275 20 that we've just fitted here now, that is a very, very common size in Canardia for pickup trucks and Denali's and all that kind of stuff. It's a fairly common tyre size, so there are a myriad of options. You can have every kind of tyre in the sun in that tyre size, and that's one of the reasons that I've gone with it, of course, is because you've got pick. And I could have gone with I could have gone with the Duratrac, I could have gone with another AT3, I could have gone with a KO2, I could have gone with a Wild Peak or a Toyo. We're out, really. Many sizes are offered in this, many types are offered in, big potholes, frosties and bumps on the road. Many potholes and bangs and bumps on these roads really do sort of bash your tyres about, and it's one of the reasons that you want a fairly good tyre. Now, these tyres, that reminds me, these tyres are available in an 8-ply and a 10-ply. Now, I've gone with the 8-ply because I don't do a lot of bouldering, and that these potholes and the like aside, I don't really feel like I need that. I actually sort of prefer a bit more traction on the road surface, so a softer tyre, softer sidewall will help you stay more planted on the gravel road, and it'll help you stay more planted in terms of frost and ice and snow as well, because like I said, we're going over a cattle, that's a railroad crossing that I meant to stop for. So that kind of lateral movement between the tyre and the rim does help you stick onto helps you break the traction, the traction friction surface between the tyre and the ground less, because there's a little bit of give in the tyre, as it were. But the downside to that is, of course, that the steering becomes slightly heavier, and you have to have slightly softer sidewalls. But any road, that's that. So overall, I'm actually extremely happy with them. The downside to the tyre, if there is any, is that they're just not available in the size that I would have preferred. Final thing, I suppose, is highway speed. Well, I'll be racking up to highway speeds in a minute, and you'll hear how quick they are or not. Many brum from that there V8. Okay, so here we are. This is 100 mile an hour, and that's what they sound like. I can't say that they're any more louder than anything else. There's a bit of a drone to them, but actually what you're hearing more than anything else is wind noise. It is quite windy out today. And there you go, that's that. That's pretty much all I've got to say, really. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do like and subscribe to the videos. We'll catch you all on the next one, which will hopefully be the installation of the roof rack. Thanks for listening. Cheerio.